Excellency, Chairperson of the African Union Assembly, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government of the African Union Committee of 10 on United Nations Security Council, representative of the President of the 80th United Nations General Assembly Session, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to welcome you to the 7th Summit of the African Union Committee of 10 on Security Council Reform, a gathering of great historical significance. We convene at a critical moment in our collective fight for justice and equity in global governance. This year marks 20 years since Africa's leaders adopted a common African position articulated in the landmark Leone Consensus and SADC Declaration of 2005. Then, Africa spoke with one voice, demanding no fewer than 2 permanent seats with all the rights and privileges of current permanent members, including the veto, and 2 additional non-permanent seats. This was not a plea for favor. It was and remains a demand for justice to correct a historical wrong. When the UN was founded in 1945, most of Africa had no voice. Today, Africa remains the only continent without permanent representation, despite African issues dominating the Council's agenda. This exclusion, a relic of bygone era, is a profound injustice. Decisions about Africa must no longer be taken without Africa. Excellencies, over the past 2 decades, guided by the Leone Consensus and SADC Declaration, the C10 has been the custodian of Africa's demand. We have carried Africa's voice to every region, every forum, and every negotiation. Our greatest achievement has been our unity. Despite our diversity, Africa has remained steadfastly aligned behind a single, principled position. That unity is our strength. No reform can succeed without a united Africa. Through tireless advocacy, Africa has secured recognition of its case as both a priority and a special case. This recognition is firmly enshrined in UN outcome documents, including the 2024 Pact for the Future. The C10 has built strong global partnerships. Today, Africa's inclusion is universally acknowledged as indispensable to any credible reform. Even the permanent 5 have in different ways publicly affirmed Africa's legitimate claim. Recently, the Freetown Retreat and Lusaka Ministerial Meeting produced the African Union Reform Model, a comprehensive, united, and actionable framework for structured dialogue in the intergovernmental negotiations. These accomplishments reflect Africa's resilience, solidarity, and determination. For 20 years, no African state has broken ranks. That unshakable unity has transformed Africa's once marginalized demand into a centerpiece of global reform debate. Excellencies, the hard truth is that our ultimate objective has not yet been achieved. 80 years after the establishment of the United Nations, the Security Council still operates under a structure that excludes Africa. This not only undermines the Council's credibility, but also challenges the universality of the UN as a whole. Today, therefore, I must restate Africa's clear and legitimate demand. To the permanent members, I reiterate that recognition should be accompanied by a genuine political willingness to take action. To member states involved in the intergovernmental negotiations, let us use the structured dialogue to build consensus on outcomes rather than recycle entrenched positions. To the wider United Nations membership, as the UN marks its 80th anniversary, let us not allow another milestone to pass with words alone. The Pact for the Future gives us the mandate. The Africa reform model adopted by C10, rooted in Eswatini and SAT common African position, provides the blueprint for reform. The momentum is here. The time for action is now. Africa will continue to engage constructively. Let there be no doubt. Our demand is legitimate, non-negotiable, and just. Equal representation for Africa is not only an African imperative, it is a global necessity. It is essential for the credibility, effectiveness, and legitimacy of the United Nations in this century. As we commemorate 20 years of Eswatini and SAT, let history record that Africa stood together, firm and resolute, to reclaim its rightful place. Let this generation of leaders be remembered for correcting an injustice that has been endured for far too long, and for ensuring that the Security Council reflects the current state of the world rather than how it was in 1945. Thank you for your attention.